Hi guys, good afternoon, happy Sunday to you, and welcome to the 100th video here on the EdWord. That's right, this video will make it 100 videos I have on my channel so far, with many more to come. So stay tuned and stay subscribed for all of my upcoming videos and content. But this is a very special day for me, as this marks my 100th video posting here on my YouTube channel, and I would just like to say a great big fat thank you and my undying gratitude to everybody who has supported me and encouraged me to go along with this recap and review channel. And to those of you, I say thank you very much. So give yourselves a big hand for helping me get this far. And I'd like to thank all of my subscribers, whether they be friends, family, or strangers whose faces I've never met. I just want to say a great big fat thank you to all of you as well. So thank you to my loyal subscribers for following me and staying on top of all of my current news stories and everything that I do here on my channel. So thank you very much, guys, for all of your help and your donation. Without you guys, this channel wouldn't be what it's becoming. I did my first video way back earlier this year in March, and now we're like 6 months down the line and I'm already up to 100 videos. So thank you guys so much for staying with me on this. And of course, what better topic to discuss in my 100th video than the news that OMG, a King Kong vs. Godzilla movie is most likely happening. I don't use the words most definitely happening because it hasn't really been officially confirmed yet, but it seems inevitable that a King Kong vs. Godzilla movie is coming. This is why. We found out recently, a couple days ago, that Kong, Skull Island, the King Kong film that was currently underway at Universal, has shifted from Universal Studios to Warner Brothers. And it seems that Legendary and Warner Brothers are coming together once again to create a King Kong Godzilla film. Now this is most likely a versus film. However, at the same time, the two monsters could team up to take down an even bigger foe. Of course, this is just purely speculation and rumor at this point, but one thing does remain. The one fact here does remain, that Kong Skull Island, which was currently underway at Universal, has now shifted towards Warner Brothers. And from the sound of it, it sounds like Legendary Pictures, Warner Brothers, and the Toho company are all coming together, pooling their resources, and working under one roof to bring us, in the next couple of years, King Kong versus Godzilla. Now, for those of you who are big King Kong or Godzilla fans, oh, excuse me. Excuse me. For those of you who know your film history, there actually has been a King Kong vs. Godzilla film, and despite its poor quality, for lack of a better term, although it's I guess nowadays it would be considered a classic, a science fiction classic, or something honoring the good old days of rubber suits and guys fighting each other in big monster suits. There was a King Kong vs. Godzilla movie from 1962 made through American and Japanese studios, most notably Toho and Universal, and I actually really enjoyed it. Hell, I own it over here in my DVD collection, and I'll probably watch it later today to celebrate this biggest news announcement coming from various sources saying that a King Kong vs. Godzilla movie is going to happen eventually. So what does this mean? Well, for one thing, that means that the King Kong that we're going to see in 2017's Kong Skull Island, which currently is going to be starring Brie Larson, I believe John C. Reilly and Tom Wilkinson are negotiating roles. Unfortunately, Tom Hiddleston and J.K. Simmons... No, Tom Hiddleston is still in it. He's still starring in it. J.K. Simmons and Michael Keaton had both previously confirmed to appear in this movie. Unfortunately, due to scheduling conflicts, both of them had to drop out. But I believe a couple of stars from Straight Outta Compton, which is continuing to be a huge box office and critical hit, currently playing in theaters. One of the stars, Corey Hawkins, I believe, is going to be starring in Kong Skull Island as well. And that movie is set for a March 10th, 2017 release date. So far, those details have not changed. The only thing that has changed is that it is now being done at Warner Brothers instead of at Universal, where it was originally happening. What this means, though, if they are setting us up for a King Kong versus Godzilla movie, obviously, King Kong has got to be at least the same size, if not a bit smaller, than the Godzilla we have just become familiarized with. The Godzilla I'm referring to, of course, is from the 2014 film Godzilla, which came out last summer. It was a huge hit with critics and moviegoers alike, a big box office hit, and it came from up-and-coming director Gareth Edwards, who is currently working on the first Star Wars spin-off, Rogue One, which is set to come out next December 2016, so keep your eyes peeled out for that. And as soon as that movie wraps up, I believe he will then redirect his focus and efforts to bringing us Godzilla 2, which is supposed to come out June of 2018 from Warner Brothers. So now that we have this inevitable King Kong versus Godzilla movie in the works, this means that King Kong is most likely going to be just as big as Godzilla, physically as big and as imposing as Godzilla, if not just a few inches shorter than him, or maybe at eye level. Because people were making jokes already how hilarious and really funny it would be if Peter Jackson's King Kong, the most recent King Kong that comes to mind, the one from 2005, from, oh my god, 10 years ago, if that King Kong was to go up against the most recent Godzilla, there's no doubt in our minds who would win. I mean, that Kong was strong and powerful, but Godzilla could just take his foot and go, just step on them all together. So, but this King Kong, I think, is going to be at least as large as the current Godzilla we're familiar with, if not just a tad bit smaller than him. Now, they seem to be, it seems like they want us to believe that this movie is going to happen after Kong Skull Island and Godzilla 2 both come out. Kong Skull Island is the one that's going to come out, if we're going in chronological order, is the next one to come out, because that movie, as I said, is coming out March 10th, 2017, where Godzilla 2 is going to be coming out June of 2018, and they seem to be leading us up towards the King Kong versus Godzilla movie for 2019 is the release date that people are speculating on. Those are a couple of articles that I've read, that 2019 is the set release date for this inevitable showdown between these two iconic monsters. However, it is my personal opinion, and this is no way a fact yet. It is my personal belief and opinion that Godzilla 2 could very well turn into the movie where King Kong throws down against Godzilla. So, you know, because at first they made it sound like Godzilla 2 was going to feature several other iconic monsters, including the three-headed golden dragon King Ghidorah, Rodan, and Mothra, all three of whom are supposedly going up against Godzilla, or perhaps one of them will be teaming up with Godzilla to take down the other two. We have no official details or confirmation as of yet regarding Godzilla 2, other than the screenwriter and the director, Gareth Edwards, will be returning to co-write and direct it once he's finished with Rogue One, the Star Wars spinoff. So it is entirely possible, in my opinion, that Godzilla 2 could turn into King Kong versus Godzilla, which means we may get this movie as early as summer of 2018, if they stick to Godzilla 2's original release date plan, which is, I believe, June 8th or June 22nd of 2018. And they would be going up against another highly anticipated monster-sized sequel, Jurassic World 2 from Universal Pictures. So I think it's absolutely fascinating how originally Warner Brothers and Legendary Pictures had ended their partnership with each other due to creative differences or maybe strife between leadership, but now they seem to have come together along with their newest partner, the Toho Film Company based in Japan, to bring us this King Kong versus Godzilla film, because I think they know they are going to make a lot of money with this. Lots and lots of money. And I think once they realize that, that is definitely what brought them together. Like, well, whatever differences we had in the past, let's just push that aside and work together in the future future in the long run to make us all filthy, filthy rich with a King Kong versus Godzilla movie. And we better get Toho included in on this since they still hold the rights to Godzilla, and they should probably feel included so they don't feel left out and they don't get rich along with us. So, anyway, I mean, I don't know the exact details or what the terms are to their relationship or partnership between Warner Brothers, Legendary, and Toho, but obviously it's going to be mutually beneficial if they finally have come together to bring us King Kong versus Godzilla. And it's finally happening, or at least it's supposed to be happening. I mean, the fact that Kong Skull Island has moved from Universal to Warner Brothers is the best, most definitive evidence we have had in a very, very long time that a King Kong versus Godzilla movie is definitely on the horizon. It still isn't 100% confirmed or accurate, but this is a very, very good sign that this movie is still out there in the public consciousness, in the film industry. Stuck in development hell is the term I've heard used when a movie takes forever to get made. So it is still stuck in development hell, if that's the term you guys want to use or want to become familiar with. So it's definitely on the horizon, and it has a very strong possibility that it will eventually in the next couple of years be confirmed as definitely happening. So they could stick to their original plan where Kong Skull Island comes out March of 2017, and then Godzilla 2 comes out in June of 2018, and then King Kong vs. Godzilla movie will be out in possibly 2019. So we still have maybe 4 or a couple more years to go until we finally see this inevitable showdown between these two iconic living legends. So we may not get it for a while, but at the same time, the second Godzilla movie could very well turn into the King Kong versus Godzilla movie. I think it honestly depends on how well Kong Skull Island does, and depending on the reaction and reception it gets, maybe they'll push forward in their plans to bring King Kong versus Godzilla to the big screen much quicker than expected. Hopefully they don't rush it, they still take their time with it, or perhaps they'll stick to their original plan where they'll have these 2 sequels first and then give us a King Kong versus Godzilla movie. Now, as amazing it would be to see those two throw down against each other, and with the current special effects that we have at our disposal nowadays, it would look, I'm sure it would look visually amazing, mind-blowing. Hopefully not too special effects-ish or but, you know, realistic enough to make you go, wow, this is awesome. However, I think it would also be extremely interesting, in my opinion, if we saw these two at first they fight each other, but then after they beat on each other for a while and one is left significantly wounded than the other, or they're both left severely wounded, they later come together to take down a common foe. Perhaps an even more aggressive and vile monster that's a bigger threat to the world more than they are. Because both of them pose a serious threat to humanity, but what if they come together to take down a mutual enemy, so to speak? Like after Godzilla beats on King Kong for a while, assuming he wins in the first round, then he focuses attention to another horrendous monster. That's maybe perhaps when we get King Ghidorah or some other vile beast like the Smog Monster or some really nasty, vile creature that really, really threatens humanity. And the risk that it poses to the Earth outweighs the risk that King Kong would pose. And Godzilla and the monster start fighting each other for a little while, and then just when humanity thinks all hope is lost and Godzilla is about to be crushed to death by this monster, King Kong shows up just in time to save Godzilla's life from the monster, and the two of them together take down this common enemy. Now, it wouldn't be a matter of where they become so intelligent enough to communicate, where they actually speak to and work with each other, but more like apex predator instincts, where King Kong also senses the threat that this other monster would pose to him, and in his own defense is the only reason why he goes to Godzilla's defense, because he realizes, well, I may have fought with this big lizard over here, but this guy over here, whatever monster it is, if they use this storyline, this guy over here poses a way more serious threat, so I'm going to beat on him instead of Godzilla here. But then they end up working together to take down this common foe. That, I think, would be pretty amazing and iconic. However, it would be just as amazing and epic if they had a versus movie. Although there's one other possibility that remains here. If they go the versus route, that means that they are probably going to make King Kong our bad guy. Because the Godzilla in Gareth Edwards' recent film was more of a protector or an unspoken ally to humanity, since he took down the Mutos and displayed no aggression towards humanity for the most part. He took down the Mutos by himself, and he didn't continue his attack on San Francisco after they were destroyed. As the Japanese doctor pointed out, he could be like the balance. His duty could be like, he could be the one who restores balance to nature, because nature has an order, and it's Godzilla's duty, or his place in the world, to make sure the balance of nature goes undisturbed. So maybe he'll arise from the depths once again when he feels King Kong threatens the balance of nature. They duke it out for a while. After their initial round, Godzilla focuses attention to the other monster who actually poses the bigger threat, and that's when he and King Kong team up to take down the mutual monster. How that could work, I'm not sure. I'm no screenwriter, so I'll trust that with the screenwriters that they'll hopefully hire soon in the next couple years. But at the same time, that means King Kong would basically be our bad guy if Godzilla is going to be our hero. If he's the one who's supposed to protect the balance of nature and King Kong threatens that, then King Kong is our unspoken villain. He may not have evil intentions, but his presence still poses a threat or a risk to humanity or the Earth itself, and that's where Godzilla has to step in. Or maybe not. Maybe, like I said, maybe Godzilla will not necessarily be there to be a fighter for the balance of nature, but just to be there because he feels like King Kong just physically threatens him, and he takes him on. Who knows? I have no idea what kind of storyline they're going to use. Those are just my thoughts as to what we could see or possibly happen. But overall, I am extremely excited about this possibility that this movie is finally happening. Or even though it hasn't been officially confirmed yet, it's very, very likely we're going to see this movie in the next couple of years. So I hope the force is very, very strong with the creative heads and the filmmakers at Legendary, Warner Brothers, and Toho Pictures. Well, guys, thank you very much for tuning in here on the EdWord for this recent news recap and announcement. Since this is my 100th video celebration, I thought I would pose another video after this featuring a very short blooper that happened to me a couple of weeks ago when I was attempting to do a TV review for Scream the TV series. And it's only a few seconds long, but I thought it was pretty funny. It could be one of many bloopers that I will post later to my channel in the years to come. So I hope you guys enjoyed and find it as amusing as I do. We all got to poke fun at ourselves at one point or another, so why not? But overall, thank you once again for tuning in here on the EdWord and making this channel a reality. And thank you for staying subscribed and loyal. And please don't forget to tune in on a regular basis for more new videos and more upcoming content. Well, guys, have a wonderful rest of the Sunday. Stay out of the heat as best you can. And thank you once again for tuning in here on the EdWord. You have my most deep felt thanks and appreciation. I hope to see and hear from you more and more. Until next time, may the force be with you.